What's poppin'? It's your girl Jazzy J. How y'all doing today? Welcome to my channel. If you're new around here, welcome. If not, what is up, Buttercup? Today is Sunday. I have a new name for my channel called Manga and a Makeover. And originally, like I said, it was called Dear Diary WTF, where I talked about anything and everything that I wanted to talk about. However, I ran out of things that I wanted to talk about, so I want to keep it in a little bit more of a consistent basis every single week. That way I have something, and there's always new webcomics coming out. So, before we go ahead and get started into things, I just wanted to let you guys know that, for those of you who don't know, before I start doing any makeup, I always make sure that I clean off my face with a little bit of micellar water, follow up with some sunblock, and again, this is Black Girl Sunscreen, and I finish with a primer before I go about putting anything else onto my face. So, the webcomic that we're going to be talking about today is called Girl, Jock, Empress. You can actually find it on a webcomic app called Pocket Comics. And Pocket Comics is, like I said in my previous video, a webcomic app that, for the most part, you are able to either get tickets to go ahead and read comics, you can use coins to pay for the comics, or you can wait for a certain amount of times before the comics become free, essentially, for you to read them. Now, Girl, Jock, Empress originally was a comic that was free for the most part until you got to a certain point when it was no longer free and you had to pay for it. The comic also went on to a short little hiatus because the artist, the mangaka, can I say that? The mangaka had some stuff going on in their life and they had to take a break. But now they are back and they will be continuing on, I think with season 2. I'm not entirely sure about that. If you guys are wondering as to why I am putting tape onto my eyes, it is because I want to go ahead and try to at least create a crease of some form so you can get that sharp cut. I want to be able to cut you with my eyeshadow, but I don't really wear foundation because I don't feel the need to wear foundation, and the foundation that I have is very, very old and I do not have the money to go out and buy more. So this is what I'm doing, the hacking way, okay? But I'm gonna go ahead and get into it. Before I start, this is a new palette that I just got recently, from Five and Below, and it is LA Colors. It is their nude palette. Maybe, there we go. There you go, now you can see it, kind of. Sorry, the reflection that you're seeing is actually the ring light that's behind my camera. But I'm gonna go ahead and try this one only because it says words on the palette. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, so I'm gonna try that, and we'll see from there. And I think it's supposed to go darker, lighter. Was it in between the limit? You know what? It's okay. It's okay. We are going to figure it out. Oh, right, before I go ahead and get into that, the quick little synopsis of Girl, Jock, Empress. Wild and carefree by day, heartbreaker by night, the beautiful Heisul one day wakes up in the body of an empress of an unfamiliar world. As she navigates her new life in the palace, she must stay alert to stave off assassination attempts on her life while also juggling the temperamental and childish emperor who has no love for her. So this is a reincarnation comic. Like I had said before, reincarnation comics tend to be a little bit more popular nowadays, I would say. Okay, I found a color and I'm kind of just like going with it right now. Right, so the comic starts off with the main character, Hazel, in her old life. Now, Hazel is an F girl. She's very much a playgirl. She doesn't care about men's feelings. A lot of men go after her because she is very beautiful. Unfortunately, she loses her life, and because I don't want to say too much, I'm not going to tell you guys how she... You know what? I'll tell you guys. I believe she loses her life, but to be quite honest with you, they don't actually say. It's very possible that she just went to sleep and woke up in a different body. And of course, if that happens to, well, anyone, you would think that it's a sick joke, and that's, well, what she thought as well. And she wakes up in the body of the Empress, and she's like, don't know what's happening, think this is a dream, what the hell is happening, what's going on, why is this happening? Her attendants are there because she's the Empress. The Empress is going to have a lot of attendants. They are there and they're like, are you good? You know, I think she fell into a lake or something like that. Something happened to her and she was bedridden, and then when she finally woke up, I think she's had a lot of assassination attempts. So it's possible that it was an assassination attempt. That's why she ended up in the water. So she goes off, her attendants are with her when she wakes up. Her attendants are of course worried about her because she's been asleep for a while. Believes this is all a crazy dream. She goes to meet the Empress, and the Empress is an absolute hottie. Like, he is downright gorgeous. And she's like, okay, so I definitely want to sleep with him because this man is beautiful and I don't see why I can't, you know? So she tries to flirt with the Emperor because, well, I mean, she's his wife, so why not? And it turns out that the Emperor doesn't like her at all, and she's very confused as to why, because it's not like she had done anything in particular that would warrant the Emperor, at least not that she could remember, to hate her. But no, he hates her with no legitimate reason, actually, because as time goes by and you figure out what exactly is kind of going on, you see that the Emperor is not favoring the Empress because he is in love with one of his concubines, which is fine. But it gets to the point where the Emperor literally like berates her and belittles her, and it's just all around terrible. He's a terrible person to her. But she kind of like plows through it. She's like, you know what? That's fine. If you don't like me, that is fine. I am not going to concern myself with you. I am still going to live my life. Just kidding. She is still the Empress, and she's like, I will sleep with this man if it kills me. Because, you know, why not? Technically speaking, he is your husband, so it's not like she can't, you know? Compared to the last time I did this, I'd say I'm doing a pretty good job. I'm doing a damn good job. Now, when she wakes up in this world, one thing that is really interesting is that for some reason, and I don't know why, and they haven't really explained as to why, but she's constantly having assassination attempts on her for no reason. And one of the big things that keeps happening within the story is they're trying to figure out who exactly it is that is trying to assassinate her. Oh, that is a big thing as well that I kind of like forgot. She, when she wakes up, turns out the original Empress was very meek and weak-willed. So when she woke up, somebody who's an F girl, and is very much a boss babe, everyone was just like, oh wow, that's very different. And of course, you know, she doesn't know what's going on exactly because she just got quote unquote reincarnated. You know, what exactly is she supposed to know? So she's going around saying to everybody that she lost her memory. Cause, you know, what are you supposed to do in that situation? So that's what's going on with her. She ends up being friends with some of the concubines. You know, time goes on and she's learning more about the concubines. People that she can trust-ish, kind of trust. I mean, with all the assassination attempts that are going on with her life, the only people that she can believe that are trying to take her out are people of the court. Potentially the emperor, because he really doesn't like her, but he also has no motivation to kill her, or some of the concubines. So that's just kind of how she's moving around life. Is she can't trust anybody except for the people that, you know, are attending to her. But even then, she can only trust them by so much, because it could be the people who are right next to you that are trying to take your life. But, you know, the people who are serving her, after some time, she realizes, like, oh, you guys aren't you're not trying to kill me. You guys are fine. But other people are not. So she basically makes it a mission to figure out who exactly it is that is trying to kill her. Now, the emperor, on the other hand, is just like, you know what? I say let her die. Who cares? Because I'm in love with this other person. Doesn't matter to me if she croaks over now. That's just, you know, if she goes, she goes. And I'm not going to concern myself with it too much. Now, I'm pretty sure that the emperor is younger than the empress, and it shows. But as time goes on and they are essentially forced to spend more time together, the emperor actually starts to fall for the empress. Like, he really likes her. Well, at the beginning, it's not so much he likes her, it's more so he's smitten. Is that the right word? I want to say smitten, or maybe like taken aback, embarrassed. I would say he's a little bit more on the embarrassed side around her, because she's, contrary to how she was before the accident had happened with the original empress, and I believe she died and the body was taken over. Contrary to all of that, she's now very aggressive. She's a very aggressive individual now, and she's very open about what she wants, what she likes, what she doesn't like, and it catches the emperor off guard, because even though the emperor has a woman that he is currently with, or whatever his concubine, he's not a very aggressive individual. I am pretty sure that he has never had his first time, even as the emperor, and with like 10 concubines or something like that. I don't know, he's never had his first time. So as the story progresses, you come across more and more characters, of course. Some of the characters, because it's been a little while since I read it and I didn't reread it, which I should definitely reread these comments before I go into this and have notes, because I'm kind of just going off the top of my head right now. Oh boy. Some of the characters that you come across, I do particularly like. Like, I do like the Empress. I like how forward she is, I guess you could say. I like how outspoken she is. Oh, that is a thing that I personally like. I like a commanding female character, a female lead, also known as an FL, and then the male lead is an ML. I like female leads who are not wimpy. I don't like wimpy female leads. I don't know what it is. It just annoys me, because I'm like, there's so much more that you could be doing as an individual, but because of the way that your character is, you're not, and it's pissing me off. It's literally aggravating me. But she's not like that at all. She's very gung-ho about trying to figure out who the assassin is, because the Emperor isn't. He's not trying to figure out who it is at all. He's just like, well, if she dies, then she dies. Not gonna stress about it. Not gonna lose sleep over it or anything like that. I'm not gonna say everything that goes on, because I would really like you guys to read it. You know, read it, come back and watch it, come back and watch my thing, or, you know, watch me because you like me and then read it because you like what I'm talking about. I would highly suggest you read it. I think it's really good. Oh, right. Also, another thing that's important for her is, because she lost her memory, she now has to go about learning about palace life and how to be an empress, because you are an empress of the nation, and you have to make sure that even though you did have quote-unquote memory loss, you have to still be able to run a country without any problems. So that is what she is doing. And as she is learning how to be an empress, there are a lot of different things that, you know, she has to do to be a quote-unquote good woman as well. And one of those things is actually embroidery, and she is not very good at embroidery. She can fight, but weaving, not her specialty. So she over time ends up becoming friends with some of the concubines, and it's one in particular, which is actually the concubine that the Emperor likes. And the concubine doesn't particularly like the Emperor like the Emperor likes the concubine. Emperor likes the concubine a lot more than the concubine likes the Emperor, and the Empress ends up becoming friends with the concubine that the Emperor really likes. It's a whole runaround type of thing. So you gotta read it to understand it, but it's okay. Personally, I think that it's great, because as she learns how to be more feminine, what the Emperor really needs is for somebody to keep him in line, because he's very childish. He's a very childish man who's supposed to be in charge of the country, and if something doesn't go his way, he essentially throws a temper tantrum. He throws a temper tantrum. And I'm pretty sure he's young too, probably early 20s, 21, 22, somewhere around that, and the Empress is probably 23, 24, at least before, when she was in her old life, she was probably around 25, 26 or something like that in the Kimbo, so she's obviously older than him regardless. But she's really able to keep him in line, so I think that's a very good thing. But there are little things that just keep happening within the webcomic that the Emperor finds to be very charming about the Empress, and he little by little slowly starts to fall for her, to the point where he actually starts helping to figure out who is trying to assassinate her and what exactly their motive is. And originally it wasn't even so much that he was trying to stop her when she was first trying to figure it out, but he wasn't really helping her either. But now he's actively trying to help her out. That's really all that I can say for the moment, because the mangaka, can I say that? The artist. We're gonna go with the artist. The artist went on a brief little hiatus for a little bit, due to family stuff or whatever. I don't know, they didn't say, but they went on hiatus, and now they are finally back to continue on with season 2, because, well, nothing got resolved in season 1, which, I mean, it's not necessarily supposed to, I guess, but, yeah. But as time goes on and I continue to read it, and I feel that a substantial amount has accumulated, I guess you could say, then I will go ahead and continue on with the story. Now, lessons that I can... Oh wait, how many chapters is this? So far they are up to 74 chapters. They're up to 74 chapters. It's still going on. I don't know when they're gonna stop. if they're going to stop. I don't know. From this comic, I would just say that it's a little bit more on the funny side, I guess. I would say this webcomic is more of like a comedy. I guess you could say there's not really any lessons at the moment that I can take away from it. Because there are definitely going to be webcomics that I come across where there's going to be so many lessons where I'm like, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. Especially slice of life animes. Slice of life, yes, gosh, animes. Slice of life webcomics and animes are, if you don't know, stories that take place in like a high school or a college. It's very much can hit close to home because it's like I can see myself in that situation. But historical stuff, you're not gonna see that too much at all, really, unless it's like a historical drama. But yeah, it doesn't happen all too much. But I would highly suggest that you go ahead and give it a read. Now, I don't know if you can find it on any other web comic app. That's the only one that I know of it to be on there. I will say that some of these webcomic apps, they're owned. I mean, some of the webcomics are owned by the webcomic apps, so you can only find them on that specific app itself, and then trying to find it anywhere else is like, it's dang near impossible. Like, you can't find it. So that's the only place that I know of it to be at. I will say one of the big reasons as to why I was drawn to this webcomic, and most of the webcomics that I read in particular, is because of the art style. If I really like the art style, I'm very much going to give it a chance. And then once I like the art style, then I decide from chapter 1, potentially going into chapter 2, if I want to read it or not. And I very much like it. Again, I very much like comedy. I like dramedy sometimes, depending on how bad the drama is. Oh, another thing before you guys really get into webcomics, unless you already have, which means you already know, is some of these translations are pretty terrible because the native language that they are made in is wherever the artist resides. In this case, it's Korea. So the native language that the comic was originally in is Korean, and then somebody translated it. So some of the language is going to be a little wonky, but just kind of, once you get past that point, it's fine. It's really not an issue. It's not like they're making boatloads of money off of this either. It's probably just a part-time thing that they're doing because they really like it. As I said, that's pretty much all that the webcomic has going on right now. It's going to be continuing out even more, and I don't know, they didn't specifically say, because sometimes what they'll do on the webcomics is they will say specifically how long, how often they update. Some will be once a week, some will be 2 times a week, some will be every single day. That just kind of depends on how the artist is doing, moving in their life, if they're going to continue it at all. And sometimes some comics that I have read personally no longer exist, and it's going to be a little bit hard to, you know, talk about them, find them, because even though I read them, they're not there anymore. So it kind of is what it is. But I highly recommend this webcomic. I think it is phenomenal. I think it's hilarious. It's a really good comedy. Yes, it does have romance. I will say it is rated M. I feel comfy saying it's rated M. And typically they'll let you know if there is content in there that is 18 and over. But I'll just go ahead and say it's rated M. None of these webcomics are going to show anything explicit for obvious reasons. But they will have some suggested explicit stuff. If you catch my drift, you know. But yeah, that's all I have for this time. I hope that you guys liked my makeup. I'm still learning. I mean, I think I like it. I would say I like it. I like it a lot more than I like the the last makeup thing that I had going on. If you like this video, go ahead and like this video. You can find me on all social media. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. I will be starting up a Twitch. I am avid video game player, and I would love to start streaming my sim gameplay, because I am a menace to The Sims, and it is phenomenal. So if you guys want to see me play The Sims, you can go ahead and look me up on Twitch. I'm pretty sure I'm Jazzy J on everything. I'll double check that, and I'll see if I can't make myself Jazzy J on everything, and if I have to change it, then I'll change it so that it's, easy to find me. Go ahead and turn on the bell notification so that you know when I post a new video. Share this video because, I don't know, we nerds have to stick together. I don't know. Go ahead. Subscribe to my channel because it helps me a lot with the analytics, and the like button, of course, lets me know that you guys actually like the content that I'm putting out, and I can make sure to do a lot more content like this. Drop a comment down below if you want to see me talk about like a specific webcomic that you like, and you want my take on it or anything like that. Yeah, and until then, I will see you guys next time. Bye!